There are people who do not come to add to your life. They come to drain you. They smile. They act kind. But behind the mask, they carry a hidden purpose: to absorb your divine light. You are not just anyone. You are chosen by God, marked, set apart, sent to this world with power and purpose. But listen carefully. You cannot afford to help just anyone. Not everyone who begs for your light deserves your flame. Not everyone who reaches out is meant to be pulled in. There are people God warned you about. People you must never help, because every time you pour into them, you lose part of what heaven gave you. They don't just slow your path, they block your destiny. And today, you are going to discover exactly who they are. Because if you don't see them for who they truly are, they will keep draining your energy, your clarity, your calling, until nothing is left but confusion and silence. And that is not your portion. This message is not for the world. It's for the few, the chosen ones. If your spirit feels this truth, stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear could shift your destiny forever. Like this video if your soul feels it. Subscribe if you haven't. You belong in this circle of light. And comment 99 if you know God is opening your spiritual eyes. Because 9 is the number of divine completion. And today, something is being completed in you. Let's begin. Let's be honest. There are things you've lived through that no one would believe. You tried to explain them before, but people just looked at you confused. Or worse, they dismissed your pain as if it were imaginary. But it wasn't. You know it wasn't. Because you felt it. In your soul, in your bones, in the silence of nights where you cried out to heaven and heard nothing back. The truth is, since you were young, life hasn't just tested you. It's tried to break you. While others were protected, you were exposed. While they laughed, you endured. While they rested, you wrestled with shadows no one else could see. And yet, you're still here, breathing, standing, and for some reason, stronger than ever. But let me ask you something. Why you? Why did the battles come for you so early? Why did the enemy attack you before you even knew how to fight? Why were you thrown into storms you never created? It's because God wasn't punishing you. He was positioning you, yes. While others were being sheltered, you were being shaped. Not to be ordinary, but to lead when ordinary people collapse. Leaders in the final times cannot be soft. They cannot be naive. They must be fire-tested, battle-proven, and spiritually unshakable. You were being forged in silence. You were being trained in secret. Because when the world begins to fall apart, you will be the one standing in the chaos. Speaking light where there is darkness, declaring faith where there is fear, leading the broken when they no longer know who to trust. And every scar you carry, every tear you've hidden, every sleepless night that almost killed you, they were never random. They were divine preparation. You were chosen to lead. But before God could hand you the mantle, He had to make sure you wouldn't drop it. Now you understand. You weren't cursed. You were called. And here's the part no one tells you. The greater your calling, the earlier your battles begin. Because hell saw your potential long before you did. But it wasn't enough to stop you. And now, you're awakening. Piece by piece, sign by sign. You're remembering who you were always meant to be. But this is just the first sign. What comes next will shake something even deeper inside you. Stay with me. What you'll hear in the next moment could reveal why certain people keep vanishing from your life. There's something different about the way you move through the world. You don't live like most people. You can't. Because deep inside you, there's a quiet weight, a constant pull, a divine burden. Even when no one sees you, even when no one thanks you, you still show up. You're the one who holds others together. Even when you're falling apart yourself, you feel responsible for things that aren't even yours. You worry about people's pain. You carry the atmosphere of every room, and you pray for people who would never do the same for you. But why? Why do you feel this urgency? This invisible duty to protect, to uplift, to cover people spiritually? Even strangers. It's because leadership wasn't something you chose. It was woven into your spirit before you were born. While others chase pleasure, you chase purpose. While they run from responsibility, you run toward it. You can't explain it to them. They'll never understand, because what you carry isn't from this world. It's a divine assignment, a code written into your soul. And every time you try to ignore it, every time you try to blend in or live normally, it comes back, louder, heavier. You weren't created to live lightly. You weren't called to watch from the sidelines. You are meant to go first, to lead, to stand in the gap, to be the voice of calm in chaos and the mirror of heaven when the world forgets what truth looks like. And here's the mystery. No one claps for you. No one notices the silent battles you fight. But that's by design, because God is raising quiet warriors. Hidden now, but not for long. You are in your preparation season, and in this season, He's watching how you lead when no one is looking, how you serve when no one says thank you, how you obey when it makes no sense. Why? Because when the time comes, when the veil lifts, you won't be leading in secret anymore. God is about to reveal His hidden ones, and the world won't understand where you came from, because they never saw what you carried, but heaven did. And your reward will match the weight you've endured in silence. Still think that responsibility was random? Still think your heart was just too sensitive? Or maybe, just maybe, it's the evidence that you were born for something sacred. But don't move, because the next sign will explain why people keep misjudging you, even the ones closest to your heart. Let's talk about something you rarely admit out loud. Something you've learned to carry in silence, something that stings more than betrayal, the feeling of being misunderstood, not by strangers, but by the very people you expected to understand you the most. You speak from your soul, but they hear with human ears. You move with purpose, but they label it strange. You say yes to what God whispers, and they say, you're being dramatic. You've tried to explain. You've tried to simplify your depth just to be accepted, but no matter what you do, they don't see you. Not fully, not truly. Friends walk away without warning. Family questions your direction. Even those who once celebrated you suddenly become silent when your light starts to rise. But what if this isn't rejection? What if it's confirmation? You see, chosen ones are rarely recognized at first, because your spirit carries a frequency most people aren't tuned into. They don't understand why you don't chase what they chase. They don't get why you need solitude, why you protect your energy, why your dreams are so different. And because they can't define you, they reject you. But listen, Jesus was misunderstood. David was ignored. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers. And yet, each one was set apart for a moment no one else could see coming. The same is true for you. The rejection wasn't punishment, it was protection. Because God is guarding your destiny from opinions that would have diluted your calling. If they had accepted you might have stayed small, safe, comfortable. But leaders can't afford comfort. They need clarity. And sometimes clarity comes wrapped in isolation. So yes, they left. Yes, they doubted you. Yes, they misunderstood you. But that's because they couldn't recognize what heaven already confirmed. You are becoming. And in this process, the people who don't match your next level will start to fall away. Don't chase them. Don't explain yourself. Don't shrink to fit the version of you they're comfortable with. Because when the time comes, when God reveals what He's been building inside you, The same people who walked away will watch in awe. But here's the part that most never realize. This phase of being misunderstood, it's not the end. It's the threshold, because what's coming next isn't just about separation. It's about activation. Get ready, because the next sign will uncover a truth so hidden, even you may have missed it. There are moments when something inside you knows, before anything happens. It starts as a whisper, a strange feeling in your chest, an image in your dreams, a quiet warning that no one else hears, but you can't ignore. You've sensed danger before it arrived. You've dreamed of places, and then walked into them days later. You've woken up with a heaviness in your spirit, not knowing why, only to realize later. Something shifted, and maybe for a while you thought it was your imagination. You questioned your sanity. You kept these moments to yourself because you feared being called crazy, overly sensitive, or too spiritual. But now it's time to say the truth out loud. You are not imagining things. You are discerning them. What you carry is not common. It's not superstition. It's not coincidence. It is a prophetic anointing. God has placed within you a spiritual antenna, one that picks up signals the average soul can't detect. While others walk blind, you walk with sight. While they guess, you feel. While they follow the crowd, you hear the whisper behind the veil. This is not something to fear. It's something to steward. Because the ones God chooses to lead in the final days cannot afford to be surprised. They must see ahead, prepare ahead, speak ahead, and that's why He shows you. He reveals warnings in your dreams, not to scare you, but to prepare you. He gives you feelings about people, not to make you judgmental, but to protect your purpose. You've walked away from things that looked good because something in your spirit screamed no. And later, the truth came out. You were right, again. That's not pride. That's not paranoia. That's prophetic sensitivity. The world needs more voices like yours. Not just loud voices, but clear ones. Not just opinions, but divine insight. This gift is costly because with it comes isolation. People mock what they don't understand. They'll roll their eyes at your warnings until the storm hits. But by then, you'll already be building the ark. You're not here to impress. You're here to prepare, to guide, to lead, to protect those who can't see. Because their eyes haven't been opened yet. And yes, it's a lonely path. Yes, it's heavy. But remember, God doesn't reveal mysteries to the crowd. He whispers them to His chosen. And you've been hearing that whisper for years. Now it's time to listen closer than ever. Because the final sign, the one you're about to hear, will confirm not only who you are, but what you were born to command. Get ready. The revelation is coming. You've tried to ignore it. You've tried to silence it. You've tried to blend in, to live the life everyone else calls normal. Work, bills, weekend plans, smile, survive, repeat. But deep inside you, there's a restlessness that refuses to sleep. No matter how much you try to bury it beneath distractions, the pull keeps returning. Louder, stronger, more urgent. You've walked away from your purpose before, haven't you? Maybe not out of fear, but out of exhaustion. Out of heartbreak, out of confusion. You told yourself, I just want peace. I just want to be left alone. I'm not ready for this. And for a while, it worked. You faded into the background. You followed the script. You tried to be ordinary. But ordinary was never written in your blueprint. You weren't designed for the sidelines. You were marked, long before you were born, to lead, to build, to awaken. And that's why the calling won't leave you alone. It shows up in your quietest moments. A thought that won't go away. A dream that keeps repeating. A sudden fire in your chest when you hear a word that hits too close. You've tried to unhear it. You can't. You've tried to forget. But destiny doesn't forget you. Because this calling is not about comfort. It's about assignment. And whether you feel ready or not, the time is coming, is already here. Where heaven will say, now. God isn't looking for the most polished. He's not after the ones with perfect resumes or flawless theology. He's looking for the willing, the available, the ones who are done running. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to surrender. Because hear this clearly. God doesn't choose the qualified. He qualifies the chosen. And the fact that you're still here, still listening, still breathing with that fire in your soul, that's your confirmation. You've been drafted by the kingdom. You've been set apart for the final hour. You're not crazy. You're not lost. You're not late. You're being prepared. And what comes next will require every lesson, every scar, every ounce of faith you've gained up until now. Stay with me. Because in the conclusion, everything will connect. And the final words will awaken a power in you that's been waiting to rise. If these signs spoke to your soul, if something inside you stirred, if your spirit whispered, "This is me," then hear this loud and clear. You are chosen, not by accident, not by chance, but by divine design. Before the chaos, before the heartbreak, before the confusion, you were already marked by heaven. Marked to carry light into a crumbling world. Marked to walk in places others fear to tread. Marked to speak truth when silence becomes deadly. These are not ordinary days. And you are not an ordinary soul. The final times are here. And the world isn't waiting for perfection. It's crying out for authentic power. For voices like yours, bold, pure, unshaken, filled with divine fire. God has not called you to sit quietly in the background. He's calling you to rise. To remember who you are, to stand like a lion in a land full of echoes. The crown you feel pressing on your soul, it's real. The weight you carry in secret, it's sacred. The pain that tried to break you, it was training, not punishment. You've been kept hidden for a reason, but not forever. Because when God says, now, nothing can stop what's been ordained. So look in the mirror and stop seeing your flaws. Start seeing your fire. Start seeing the warrior God already sees. This isn't about waiting anymore. This isn't about hoping one day it will all make sense. This is your moment. This is your activation. This is the sound of heaven saying, rise. Rise from fear. Rise from confusion. Rise from the ashes of everything that tried to silence you. You were not born to blend in. You were born to burn, to lead, to shift atmospheres, to shake kingdoms. Your destiny doesn't begin someday. It begins now. If you feel this in your soul, type in the comments, I was born for this. Let the world see it. Let the darkness hear it. Let heaven witness your yes. And share this message with someone who needs to wake up. Because chosen ones are rising, and nothing will ever be the same again.